Hi, Eric Can here. In this video, I'm going to talk about a modern set of personal change techniques that are getting a lot of attention within the healing professions. In fact, this is probably my favorite technique for helping clients to permanently release fears and negative emotions on the spot. Based on impressive new discoveries involving the body's subtle energy systems, this technique called Meridian Tapping is a clinically proven solution for a wide variety of problems, including fears and phobias, anxiety and stress, emotional traumas and post-traumatic stress syndrome, grief, sadness, shame and frustration, suppressed anger and resentment, even cravings and addictions, because these problems are fueled by anxiety, and also chronic physical pain, because even pain can be fueled by stressful, internalized negative emotions. So any kind of negative emotion is potentially resolved and potentially cured through meridian tapping techniques. It often works when nothing else will. It can be learned by anyone. It can be self-applied, and it doesn't require any special equipment at all. Once you've learned meridian tapping, you can self-apply the techniques and quite literally become your own best self-therapist. In the blog post article that's linked with this video, I'm going to include a few links, and the first one is going to be with a link to a very impressive video documentary about the use of meridian tapping for extreme emotional traumas. Now, it's fairly short, it's about 20 minutes, but it's well worth your time to watch this video. You're going to see the absolute transformation that occurs when meridian tapping practitioners work with war veterans suffering from extreme traumas and emotional difficulties. There's a lot of war veterans out there that are suffering more than most of us could even conceive of or imagine based on their experiences. Now, through meridian tapping, you'll see how quickly they can experience measurable relief from serious problems that were previously not responding to more conventional therapies. Here's a quote from one of the people featured in the documentary, Dr. David Gruder, a psychologist. "People like me who were very skeptical about energy psychology methods in the beginning have become very, very enthusiastic about them because of one thing and one thing only. It's called results." What is this meridian tapping? Let me tell you, meridian tapping is a mind-body healing technique for eliminating fears and painfully intense negative emotions. The technique involves physically tapping on specific meridian points of the body while the subject focuses on a traumatic situation that is eliciting a strong emotional response. The tapping treatment neutralizes the negatively charged emotions that are driving the problem. And this all happens fairly quickly, and the results are usually permanent. Meridian tapping is a simple and rapid therapy that helps real-world people break free of real-world problems. Meridian tapping therapies and other modalities of energy psychology so far have been researched in more than 7 countries and by more than 50 investigators. Results have been published in more than 15 different peer-reviewed journals, including the Journal of Clinical Psychology. We are entering, I believe, a new era of self-healing. And let's be honest, generally speaking, people manage their emotions very poorly. They spend a lot of energy trying to keep stressful emotions under control. And of course, some people choose to distract themselves from painful emotions with drugs, alcohol, or even overeating. In the long run, those are poor strategies. They are simply band-aids that don't resolve the underlying emotional issues. I'm a passionate advocate of meridian tapping because I personally believe it is the fastest, simplest, and most effective technique available for an individual to effectively address and release emotional problems in real time. Whatever's been bothering you, meridian tapping can help you to release it. and you can literally set yourself free. But where did these tapping techniques come from? The original meridian tapping treatment is known as thought field therapy, or TFT. This was developed by psychologist Dr. Roger Callahan. His work essentially became the foundation for the growing field of energy psychology. Now, as the story goes, he made an important discovery while working with one of his patients that had a severe water phobia. And even after working with her on this for over a year, they really hadn't made any progress. Well, one day he was sitting with his patient within viewing distance of a swimming pool. Now, because she had a very strong water phobia, she didn't like that at all. She was upset, and she actually complained that she was having stomach pains. Dr. Callahan was somehow inspired to stimulate an acupressure point on her face that he had learned was associated with the stomach meridian of the body. Within a few moments, both the stomach pains and the previously incurable fear of water had completely disappeared with his patient. In fact, she actually ran over to the pool and started splashing herself with water. She was completely cured. Inspired by this amazing discovery, Dr. Callahan researched and developed more meridian tapping algorithms to treat a wide variety of psychological issues. Next on the scene came Gary Craig, an engineer by training who is now also an ordained minister. After learning thought field therapy directly from Dr. Roger Callahan, he quite famously streamlined a multitude of the tapping treatments into a single, simplified process known as the Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT. With EFT, there is only one sequence of meridian points to tap, regardless of the type of emotional problem being treated. Despite its simplicity, it appears to be just as effective as Dr. Callahan's thought field therapy. In fact, EFT is so simple that almost anyone can grasp the basic recipe of the technique fairly quickly. So let me do my best to explain meridian tapping in more detail. Meridian tapping is an emotional healing technique that utilizes the body's energy meridian points. These are the same points that have been a part of Eastern medicine for thousands of years, within fields such as acupuncture. Energy circulates throughout your body along a very specific network of channels known as meridians. When you experience negative emotions, this causes a disruption in the body's energy system. In other words, focusing on a negative emotion throws your body's energy system out of balance. This disruption results in the physical experience of emotional stress. During meridian tapping therapy, a series of acupressure points are physically stimulated by tapping on them with your fingers. Stimulating specific meridian points of the body while focusing on the thought field of a negative emotion has the effect of restoring the body's energetic balance. The stressful emotion becomes neutralized, and the body's energy balance is restored. Now, once all of the aspects of an emotional problem have been successfully treated, the painful intensity of the emotion is no longer experienced. Well, how does this work? Negative emotions activate the fight or flight response centers of the brain, and this spikes the production of a brain hormone known as cortisol. This cortisol hormone is produced when you are experiencing extreme or extended periods of stress. Meridian tapping treatments cause a provable and scientifically measurable reduction in cortisol levels, helping to put the body back into balance. At the same time, meridian tapping stimulates the increase of a different hormone called serotonin. This is known as a feel-good hormone because it creates a physically calming effect throughout your body. The reduction of stressful cortisol combined with the calming effect of serotonin neutralizes the fight or flight response linked with the negative emotion being treated. The treatment causes an actual change in the brain's neurological pathways because the previous association between the thought and the negative emotion becomes disconnected. This creates a window of opportunity for the rational thinking part of the brain to be more calmly evaluating the problem situation from a new perspective that's more empowering and less reactionary. The emotional response pattern is broken. And this is truly the mind-body connection at work. And all of this can happen in just a matter of minutes. The neutral, more resourceful response gets carried forward into future similar situations. In the blog post article that's linked with this video, I'm including a link to a short video interview with Dr. Eric Robbins. He's a medical doctor and a strong advocate for EFT, Meridian Tapping Therapy. Here's a few quotes from that interview. The body will tend to heal itself if its energies are allowed to flow. The biggest thing that blocks that flow of energy is how emotional issues and past traumas are held in the body. You get used to seeing patients have really miraculous healings from chronic problems once you go in and find underlying issues or past traumas and remove them with EFT. The types of results that it gets are just so far beyond people's belief systems of what's possible that they just kind of write it off. With chronic pain and chronic problems, there's almost always unresolved emotional issues that need to be dealt with. And I'd suggest to you that the best way to deal with those is using EFT. Well, how can you get started with meridian tapping techniques? Let's talk about experiencing meridian tapping for yourself. Understandably, it is easy for a first-timer to become confused and overwhelmed about where they can get started because there is an enormous amount of information available about these transformational techniques. It might get a bit confusing. Meridian tapping is going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced before. Certain aspects of the techniques are likely to be counterintuitive to your thinking, especially in the early stages of your learning. You really have to experience it for yourself. My best recommendation is to get a coach and experience your first meridian tapping successes as quickly as possible. And once you've learned the basics, you'll possess one of the most effective tools for healing and personal transformation ever known. I recommend you take action in one of two ways. Option number one, book some live coaching sessions. There are meridian tapping specialists in every major city, and many of these practitioners have a background in the healing professions: psychologists, licensed therapists, and consulting hypnotists. In just a few sessions, an experienced practitioner can walk you through the process and get you up and running with the basics, so you'll be able to comfortably self-apply the techniques for yourself in the future. The value of personal sessions with a coach is that they'll help you to identify your own specific challenges, and certainly they'll help to keep you on the right track. And strongly consider this option of working with an advanced, experienced practitioner if you're feeling stuck or you need to resolve some really complex emotional issues, or if you suffer from a chronic illness. In the blog post article that's linked to this video, I'm including links to some excellent directories for locating practitioners within your own area. Now, option two is to learn meridian tapping through an online video course. If booking personal sessions is just too costly, or if it's just not convenient based on your location because you happen to live in the middle of Nowheresville, there's still hope. You can sign up for the Fear Cure course, and in that case, I'll personally be your coach, and you'll learn the exact meridian tapping system that I teach to my private clients. Everything's broken down into a logical system of easy to follow steps with the absolute beginner in mind. Through a series of interactive videos, you'll jump right in and you're going to start experiencing results right away. The unique advantage of this online learning experience is that the course includes video sessions of me working interactively in person with other actual clients. Now, these are clients learning about meridian tapping for the very first time, just like yourself. Learning by watching other people successfully apply the techniques is a very powerful way to learn and reinforce and successfully internalize this new material for yourself. The bottom line is that you'll learn to conquer your fears, release negative emotions that have been stuck, and move forward with a blueprint on how to use Meridian Tapping to become your own best self-therapist. I certainly hope I've piqued your interest with this information. This is probably the most important post I've created thus far because I do believe that virtually anyone can profoundly benefit by integrating these Meridian tapping techniques into their daily personal development strategy. I really think it's that important. Post your questions about Meridian tapping in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.